EBS Demo Day Recap. Frequently asked questions. Load test. Aren't helical piles only for small and specialty loads? Helical piles are for large, even substantial loads. We have over 350 load tests to back us up. What types of load tests can you do? We use ASTM standards for static load tests in tension, compression, and lateral. What about tight access sites? Dealing with challenging access is one of our strengths. Our testing method and apparatus allow us to be able to test and verify even when the job provides tight access. What is the biggest benefit to load testing? Verification of design and value engineering. Load testing allows us to verify the viability of the design and also serves as a check on installation quotes. We gain valuable information about potential installation issues that may not have been apparent from the soils report. In some cases, we also gain the ability to update a design to match actual site loading information. This can lead to cost reductions. EBS Demo Day Recap. Frequently asked questions. Inspection. Shaft twist on square shaft. How much is allowed? Shaft twist is normal. Twisting of chance square shaft material during installation is normal and does not decrease the strength of steel. As torque is applied to the shaft, twisting of the shaft continues up to the point where square shaft section is fully plastic. The amount of twist of the shaft has been used for many years as a visible indication of installation torque. The twisted square shaft retains its net section. There is no necking or reduction of area. This ensures its axial load capacity has not been compromised. Who is considered a suitably qualified person to conduct continuous field reviews and inspections? EBS offers engineering services as a part of their turnkey project solution. EBS engineers are well trained in QA/QC procedures for all helical pile installations. Personnel that have taken EBS inspector training courses are also qualified. Is the bearing capacity of pipe shaft helical piles the same as square shaft helical piles? Assuming they have the same helix plate configuration or bearing area, square shaft and low displacement, less than 89mm diameter pipe shaft helical piles will have the same bearing capacity. The difference is the square shaft will install with less installation torque and smaller equipment than the pipe shaft helical pile. EBS Demo Day Recap. Frequently asked questions. Shoring. How do you know when shoring is required? Shoring is typically required when the depth of excavation exceeds 1.2 meters and is closer than 1.2 meters to the property line or site constraint. Essentially, there is a 1.2 meter vertical excavation face allowed at the bottom of a 1-to-1 sloped excavation to comply with Ministry of Labor guidelines, which drives the requirement for shoring. These distances are soil dependent and work in competent soil, but will need to be adjusted if wet sloughing soils are present. When are sheet piles preferred to be used versus traditional piles and lagging shoring systems? Sheet piling is recommended for wet soils with minimal cobbles or boulders and an end value of less than 30 blows per foot. The water retention of sheet piling, coupled with a more cost-effective solution, makes them ideal over a caisson wall, especially for work on floodplains, around water and wastewater facilities, bridges, etc. What is the minimum clearance requirement for shoring? The smallest drill rig that Turnkey has is 6.5 feet in width and approximately 20,000 pounds, generally the size of a small excavator. This can drill piles sufficient to easily retain excavated depths of 10 to 12 feet and with supplemental bracing up to 25 feet. Our clearance for drilling from existing structures is approximately 6 inches. On very tight access sites, we have joint ventured with EBS to install helical piles under foundations and use them as shoring members for soil retention. EBS Demo Day Recap. Frequently asked questions. Helical piles. When would you not recommend helical piles be used? There are 2 situations where we would not recommend the use of helical piles. 1. Where the site has numerous obstructions such as large boulders or large slabs of buried concrete or other similar debris. The only effective, deep foundation system that will penetrate the obstructions just listed is a micropile. 2. Where you have soft soil to bedrock and need tension capacity. In this example, you would be relying on the soft soil above the helical plates and would not get a high capacity and tension. Once again, this would be a better application for micropiles. Can you end bear on bedrock with helical piles? Yes, for compression loads, as long as the bedrock has a somewhat flat profile. Then you can use the full capacity of the helical pile given in the EBS reference guide. What happens when you hit an obstruction? When dealing with the occasional obstructions that stop the helical pile advancing, we can do one of the following things. 1. Simply remove the helical pile and move the helical pile along the grade beam or pile cap alignment. 2. Remove the helical pile and install 2 helical piles to bridge over the top of the obstruction and design the grade beam or pile cap to suit. Can you support existing structures or increase loading on existing footings? With the Chance Helical Pile Foundation bracket, you can support or augment existing footings that have experienced settlement or need to support an additional loading from vertical additions. When would you recommend helical piles? You could recommend helical piles anywhere you would recommend traditional deep foundations, such as caissons or driven pile. Also, you can recommend helical piles in the following applications: limited access, where you have vibration concerns or spoil concerns, high water table, in clay, granular, or till soil conditions. EBS Demo Day Recap: Frequently Asked Questions. Micropile. What makes a good geotechnical report and investigation for micropiles? For soils, at least 1 or 2 boreholes should extend into a more competent layer of soil and extend at least 10 feet into it. Identifying the presence and depth of bedrock can be very important on larger structures. The difference in bearing capacities can be 4 to 20 times greater. It can mean a significant reduction in the number of piles needed and impact budget and timelines. Why is end bearing not considered for micropiles? Micropiles are designed as skin friction piles. Their capacity comes from the bond adhesion of the grutted surface area against the competent soil or rock. Micropile sizes usually range from 100 to 250 millimeters in diameter and embedment lengths of 8 to 12 meters in soil and 3 to 10 meters in rock. The small area for end bearing is negligible compared to the bond area. Why is the casing usually left in for micropiles? First, it saves time and is more cost-effective to leave the casing in, as it takes time and resources to remove and prepare the casing for reuse. Other benefits to leaving the casing intact are that it can be designed to provide a lateral load support. It acts as an additional layer of corrosion protection, and it also provides significant axial stiffness to the pile to help control deflection, especially with deep piles.